A lot of people thought that we wouldn't be able to make another season of the show, but we did. And it still has all your favorite stuff from the first one.
From start to finish, the whole season two took about 10 months. I use a Sony FS5 to shoot basically everything, but I'd say about a fifth of the show is shot on my iPhone as well. The crew for season two was around 50-ish people, I think. There was me and kind of my core unit that traveled with me wherever I went. And then three or four teams of second unit shooters going out every single day. And that was usually a pair. We would have a shooter and a producer to release people. I have no idea how many hours of footage went into this season, but I mean, thousands. We had thousands and thousands of hours of footage. When we make a rough cut for the show, we keep it to time. I like to deliver it as a finished product, more or less. I don't like to deliver cuts that need to be shaved down. So the longest rough cut was around 28 minutes.
Usually the host of a TV show is right in front of the camera, and you can see exactly where the voice is coming from, which I guess people like. But in my show, you never really see the host. And that's because I'm actually behind the camera the whole time, filming everything you see.
I feel like we don't talk to a lot of people on the series who do have a writer's room for the most part. What's the role of the writer's room on this show?
I'm constantly jotting down little ideas and things that give me intense anxiety or something perplexing that a problem I don't really know how to solve. And even when I Google it, it doesn't really come up with a very satisfying answer. So I kind of bring a lot of these things to the writer's room, and then we just have these really long conversations about each topic and try to take them to their logical conclusions and see how many different ways this is represented in society in in the most abstract or literal ways. And then I try to draft very rough scripts of what might happen in an episode about something like this. We give that to production. We kind of put a plan in action to shoot it. And every single script is rewritten from, the ground up, by the time we're done with the edit, because so much of the rewriting has to happen in the edit, because we're now writing to these shots that we never could have predicted that we would have. And they're always so much better than the stuff that we kind of roughly conceived. It's just this process that is constantly evolving.
So stick with me, and I'll show you how to solve problems that you didn't even know you had. Because even if it looks like you've got it all figured out, there's always a million ways to get it wrong.
What kind of things are you asking for when you're trying to get other footage that you might not already have?
Each second unit team has a scavenger hunt list. Like in the wine episode, there was legs. Legs was a big one. The kind of vocabulary of wine lingo. A lot of the time they just capture better stuff than the scavenger hunt stuff. And once enough second unit people shoot the same thing enough times, accidentally, and I notice patterns in the footage, then I tell them to double down on it usually and just continue shooting more of that thing. I shoot all day, and then I'll receive the three or four teams worth of footage at night and comb, just power scan through all of it and make selects from there. And then I have to tell them how to reorient the next day to whether or not they have too much of it or to get more of whatever.
Some legs are a little hard to interpret, but if you're afraid of saying the wrong thing when describing them, you can always just say, "nice legs." And everyone will accept that as an appropriate response.
Does your approach to the show or what you do change at all when you do go to other places? How did you sort of adjust to being in Florida and Vegas?
I really do feel like a fish out of water in those environments. But a lot of the time that leads to interesting stuff when I don't have my set kind of routines or well-worn paths that I'm on in a city. And then I'll end up at some energy drink CEO's house. That was crazy. We were on the way to the airport before, and we weren't even sure that we were going to do that. I don't know if I would have had the confidence to do that at some like millionaire's estate in New York City, but there's something about like the foreign landscape of that Fort Lauderdale, that like just made me, I don't know, like I didn't feel self-conscious about it.
That was impressive. I kept waiting for you to like be like, no, and then turn back, and it just kept getting closer. I was like, surely you're not getting into this house.
I know. I had the same exact train of thought. That the whole time I was just like running through the scenario in my head. I was like, what do I think is going to happen? Like, he's going to open his door and like give me and show me around his house. Everything I was joking about happening actually did happen.
Sometimes I talk to people that I meet out in public and ask them for their advice. Other times I'll just open up a door and see what's on the other side.
Have you ever like heard back from people who have been on the show in like a good or a bad way?
Yeah. I mean, the circumcision guy, the Tugger guy, he emails me all the time. Like he was texting me pictures of people watching the show on airplane, that he was on, which is really nice. The Mandela effect people like are the, they have this Twitter and they're constantly, promoting their appearance on the show. And the guy from Cancun is really funny. The guy, Chris, that I talked to on the beach, he, I guess, was finally able to see the episode like a couple of months ago. And he said he DMs me on Instagram and he's just like, bro, did you realize your show's on HBO? I was like, yeah, I thought I told you that, but
I spend a lot of time with my landlord. I usually go down to her apartment around 7 o'clock and we watch Jeopardy together. She even gives me slippers to make sure that my feet aren't cold and insists that I call her Mama. Thank you, Mama.
How is your landlady doing? How is Vegas for her? Is she doing well?
Yeah, she's good. She's living, right on the edge of the desert in Vegas, and she has a peaceful little life there. I think she does miss a bit of the neighborhood in New York, but I told her that if she wanted to come back at any point, the basement is always open. I can't legally rent it out, but if she wanted to spend any amount of time there, I say that it's an open invitation. She's still my landlord at heart, and I can't. Yeah, I'll never be able to really fill those shoes.
This is John Wilson. Talk to you soon.